This sign means A. Trucks only. B. Trucks are entering the highway. C. Upcoming hill. D. Trucks have the right of way. C. Upcoming hill. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign indicates that drivers are approaching a steep hill and should prepare to adjust their speeds to continue to drive safely. This sign means A. All traffic must turn. B. Turn right at the intersection. C. Parking area ahead. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. This sign warns of the presence of a crossroad ahead. This road sign means A. No right turn. B. Curve. C. Turn right or left. D. Traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. D. Traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. This one-way sign indicates that traffic flows only in the direction of the arrow. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Intersection ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. D. Highway curves ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
At an intersection with a yield sign, you should A. Always stop before entering the intersection. B. Yield just to the traffic on the right. C. Yield just to the traffic on the left. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. A yield sign means that you must slow down and yield the right of way to traffic in the intersection or roadway you are entering. This sign means A. Stop ahead. B. Buggy warning. C. Limited parking. D. Do not block intersection. A. Stop ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that there is an upcoming stop sign and that they should prepare to come to a complete stop before proceeding. This sign means A. Winding road. B. No parking. C. Right lane closed. D. Multiple turns. A. Winding road. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that they are approaching a winding road and that they should adjust their speed accordingly. This road sign means A. Increase your speed. B. Railroad crossing ahead. C. Intersection ahead. D. Four-way stop ahead. C. Intersection ahead. This sign means that you are approaching an upcoming intersection. Watch carefully for cross traffic. This road sign means A. Sharp turn to the right. B. Double curve. C. Winding road. D. Pavement ends. C. Winding road. This sign indicates that the road ahead winds with a series of turns or curves. This sign is used to warn drivers A. That the right lane ends and traffic should merge left. B. That the road curves ahead. C. About upcoming intersections. D. About road construction. A. That the right lane ends and traffic should merge left. This sign indicates that the right lane on a multi-lane roadway ends ahead. Traffic in the right lane must merge left. A driver under the age of the 18th of May use a cell phone while driving? A. At any time. B. If they are making an emergency call. C. To send a text message. D. If they are driving at a speed slower than 40 miles per hour. B. If they are making an emergency call. In the state of Virginia, it is against the law for a driver under the age of 18 to make a phone call while operating a moving vehicle, except in the event of an emergency. It is against the law for any driver to read or send text messages while driving. When driving from a private road or driveway, you do not have to stop before crossing a sidewalk. A. True. B. False. B. False. You must always stop your vehicle when entering a street or crossing over a sidewalk from a driveway, alley, building, or parking lot. When approaching a railroad crossing, you should A. Slow down. B. Look for a train. C. Be ready to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When you see any signs indicating a nearby railroad crossing, you should slow down, look for a train, and be ready to stop. If the red warning lights are flashing or the gate is down, you must stop 15 to 50 feet before the railroad tracks. Do not try to go around the gate. Drivers should have a minimum of fill in the blank. In liability insurance coverage for injury or death of 2 or more people. A. $20,000. B. $10,000. C. $40,000. D. $50,000. D. $50,000. To meet legal standards for liability insurance coverage in the state of Virginia, a driver must have $25,000 of coverage for injury or death of one person, $50,000 of coverage for injury or death of 2 or more people, and $20,000 of coverage for property damage. If uninsured, a driver must pay a $500 uninsured vehicle fee. A court may suspend or revoke your driving privilege if you are convicted of A. Parking near a loading dock. B. Failing to use a blinker. C. Driving recklessly. D. Driving with a burned-out taillight. C. Driving recklessly. A court may suspend or revoke a person's driving privilege if they are convicted of one of several offenses. Driving recklessly, operating a vehicle while under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or committing a felony involving a motor vehicle can result in license suspension or revocation. A court may suspend or revoke your driving privilege if you are convicted of A. Reckless or aggressive driving. B. Failing to pay for gas. C. Operating a vehicle without a valid license. D. Any of these. D. Any of these. A court can suspend or revoke your driving privileges if you are convicted of reckless or aggressive driving, driving without a valid license, driving while your license is suspended, refusing a blood or breath test when charged with a DUI, or failing to pay for gas. If you need to slow down while driving on a slippery road, the first thing you should do is A. Firmly apply your brakes. B. Take your foot off the gas pedal. C. Apply your parking brake. D. Pump your brakes. B. Take your foot off the gas pedal. To slow down on a slippery road, you should first take your foot off the gas pedal. If you need to slow down even more, gently apply a slow, steady pressure to your brake pedal. The most common mistake that drivers make when backing is failing to look both ways behind them. A. True. B. False. A. True. The most common mistake that drivers make when backing up is failing to look both ways behind them. Mirrors do not give you a full view. To see as much as possible, turn your body and head to the right and look through the rear window. When driving at a speed that is faster than 45 miles per hour, a driver should maintain a following distance of at least A. 4 seconds. B. 3 seconds. C. 2 seconds. D. 1 second. A. 4 seconds. It is important for a driver to maintain a space cushion around their vehicle at all times. When traveling under ideal driving conditions at a speed that is slower than 35 miles per hour, a driver should maintain a minimum following distance of 2 seconds. If you begin to feel tired while driving, the best thing to do is to A. Get some coffee. B. Open your window. C. Stop driving. D. Turn on the radio. C. Stop driving. Being fatigued while driving is similar in danger to driving under the influence of alcohol. If you begin to feel tired while driving, the best thing to do is to stop driving. When a stop is required at an intersection and no markings appear to indicate a stop line or crosswalk, a driver A. is not required to stop. B. is required to slow down to make sure crossing traffic is clear. C. should stop only at a place where they can see at least 200 feet on either side, even if they have to enter the intersecting roadway. D. should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before they enter the intersecting roadway. D. should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before they enter the intersecting roadway. If there is no stop line or crosswalk, you should stop at the point nearest to the intersecting roadway where you can get a view of approaching traffic. You should not enter the intersecting roadway to gain a better view. The safest place to install a child safety seat is in A. the driver's side back seat. B. the front passenger seat. C. the center of the back seat. D. any passenger seat. They are equally safe. C. the center of the back seat. Some children must be fastened securely into child safety restraint systems when being transported in moving vehicles. The safest place to install a child safety seat is in the center of the back seat of a car. When approached by an emergency vehicle that is using its siren and/or flashing lights, a driver must immediately A. pull to the right and stop. B. pull to the right and slow down. C. pull to the right and turn on their vehicle's four-way flashers. D. stop and let the emergency vehicle pass. A. Pull to the right and stop. When you are approached by an emergency vehicle that is using its lights, sirens, and/or other warning devices, you must immediately drive to the right side of the road and stop. It is important to slow down. A. On narrow or winding roads. B. At intersections or railroad crossings. C. When the road is wet or slippery. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should always slow down when driving on narrow or winding roads, near intersections, near railroad crossings, on hills, in sharp or blind curves, where there are pedestrians or driving hazards, and when the roads are wet or slippery. You are driving on the roadway and hear a siren behind you. You should A. Stop where you are. B. Pull over to the right and stop. C. Speed up to get out of the way. D. Slow down. B. Pull over to the right and stop. When you hear the siren or see the flashing lights of an emergency vehicle coming from behind your vehicle, you must create a clear path for the emergency vehicle and stop. Reduce your speed and safely pull over to the side of the road. If the emergency vehicle is directly behind your vehicle when you are in heavy traffic, keep moving slowly until you can get out of its way. You are driving on a highway divided by two solid yellow lines. You may A. Cross these lines only to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. B. Cross these lines to pass other vehicles, but only if there is no oncoming traffic. C. Cross these lines under no circumstances. D. Cross these lines only to make a U-turn. A. Cross these lines only to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. Double solid yellow lines are used to mark roadways where passing is prohibited from both directions. You may cross these lines only to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. Distracted driving is A. Very uncommon. B. Extremely risky behavior. C. Nothing to be concerned about. D. No less safe than driving under any other conditions. B. Extremely risky behavior. Distracted driving is extremely risky behavior that puts not only you and your passengers in danger, but also endangers pedestrians, bicyclists, and other motorists sharing the road. Focused attention on driving helps to prevent crashes. A fully loaded tractor-trailer traveling at 55 miles per hour could take up to fill in the blank to come to a complete stop. A. 50 feet. B. 125 feet. C. 400 feet. D. 750 feet. C. 400 feet. Tractor-trailers take longer distances to stop than smaller cars traveling at the same speed. A fully loaded tractor-trailer may take almost 400 feet to come to a complete stop when driving at 55 miles per hour. Which is not a factor in determining the distance that it takes to stop your vehicle. A. Steering ability. B. Braking distance. C. Reaction distance. D. Perception time. A. Steering ability. The distance required to stop your vehicle depends on perception time, reaction distance, and braking distance. This changes with speed and road conditions. When approaching railroad tracks, you should A. Look, listen, slow down, and be prepared to stop. B. Speed up to cross the tracks before the gate is lowered. C. Try to drive around a lowered gate. D. Not pay attention to how many tracks there are to cross. A. Look, listen, slow down, and be prepared to stop. When approaching railroad tracks, you should look, listen, slow down, and be prepared to stop for trains or other vehicles that may be using the rails. The correct way to use a freeway exit ramp is to A. Slow down before entering the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. C. Keep your speed constant once in the exit ramp. D. Pass slower traffic in the exit ramp. B. Slow down once moving onto the exit ramp. When using a freeway exit ramp, do not slow down until you move onto the exit ramp. When passing another vehicle, a driver should wait until the entire car they've just passed is visible in the rearview mirror before changing back into the right-hand lane. A. True. B. False. A. True. When passing, you should not return to your original lane until the entire vehicle you've just passed is visible in your rearview mirror. In which of the following ways can alcoholic beverages affect you? A. It slows your reaction time. B. It gives you a feeling of false confidence. C. It impairs your thinking ability. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Alcohol dulls the parts of your brain that control inhibition, judgment, and self-control. As a result, you may feel stimulated, lively, and a bit giddy or foolish after consuming alcohol. Alcohol also impairs your reaction time, coordination, and balance. Your vision and ability to judge distance suffers after alcohol consumption, making it difficult to react to your surroundings. If a flagger is directing traffic in a construction zone, you must A. Follow the directions given by the flagger. B. Copy what surrounding traffic is doing, despite the flagger's instructions. C. Assume the flagger is not supposed to be directing traffic. D. Follow the laws that would be in place if the area was not under construction. A. Follow the directions given by the flagger. Be prepared to reduce your speed and use caution when directed to do so by a sign, flagger, or law enforcement officer. Failure to do so is illegal and is dangerous to those working in construction zones. When driving at a speed that is faster than 45 miles per hour, a driver should maintain a following distance of at least A. 4 seconds. B. 3 seconds. C. 2 seconds. D. 1 second. A. 4 seconds. It is important for a driver to maintain a space cushion around their vehicle at all times. When traveling under ideal driving conditions at a speed that is above 45 miles per hour, a driver should maintain a minimum following distance of 4 seconds.